Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to our September 6th council meeting. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Matt, can you start us off with a roll call?
Councilor Zadi. Here. Dickerson. Here. West. Here. Savage.
Here.
Patolo.
Here.
Halter.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Demas.
Here.
Mayor Como.
Here. Council, first order of business, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the City Council meeting of August 16th, 2022.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this can move us on to commendations, and I think Corporal Shanefield placed this early in our meeting so he could get out of here, but we're honored and also saddened to see Paul go. He's been a huge asset to our police department over the many years, 16 years. Started in August 31st of 2006. And big shoes to fill. And we wish him well, but he's decided to retire. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Police Chief Ersbommer to do the honors.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, you already said my whole speech.
I'm sorry.
I'll go to the podium to here, but there we go. I just want to take a few minutes to recognize Paul and his accomplishments at the police department. Like the mayor said, he started with us in August of 2006, but that was after some years at the sheriff's office. Is that 5 years that you did there, right? 5 years, yeah. So I think in all, a total of 21 years in law enforcement, which is a huge accomplishment. During his time with the police department, Paul was a patrol officer, a detective, a bomb technician, a sniper, and a member on our tactical response team. He was a field training officer, a background investigator, and then he ended his career as a corporal or a supervisor on our patrol shift. 20 years in law enforcement. To my knowledge, in the history of the Rock Springs Police Department, only 35 people have met retirement in our agency, and that includes Paul. So it's a small number of people who actually make it that far. And it's a major accomplishment. Tim, you know what I'm talking about? And now you're a member of the Check of the Month Club, so that's awesome. But anyway, Paul, if you can come down here and receive this plaque. So basically, just in recognition of all your hard years of work, it's my honor to present Paul with this plaque that outlines just a few of his accomplishments while he worked here at the agency. Congratulations, Paul. Well earned. Paul did say that he wanted about 20 minutes to address the group. So of course.
Well, I caught those words of 20 hard years of service, and I can't thank you guys for what you do, Paul, and the police department, fire department. Our emergency responders, what they go through on a daily basis. I don't think any of us could even imagine. We'd all end up in counseling, but greatly appreciate your service. Wish you well and your family well.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Did we get a picture with the plaque?
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get the family down
The
here.
family, bring the family down.
There you go, good call. Come on, Ace.
Come on in here.
should be in the
One more
picture.
with the chief. He snuck out on us. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's always hard to lose good employees that have done so much for the department, that's for sure. But we do wish you well. That's going to take us into the appointments section of our agenda, Mr. President, members of the council. Submit to you the name of Mike Shaw to serve first term on the Board of Adjustments.
Councilors, Mike Shaw has stepped up for first term on the Board of Adjustment. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilor Patola. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Demus. Roll call, please.
Counselor Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi.
Yes.
Mayor, you have your appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Mr. President, I submit to you the name of Mark Cott to serve first term Board of Adjustments.
Councilors, Mark Cott has stepped up for first term on the Board of Adjustment. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilor Halter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Hickerson. Roll call, please.
Counselor West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson.
Yes.
Mayor, you have your appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Mr. President, I submit to you the name of Matt McBurnett to serve second term on the Joint Powers Telecom Board.
Who?
Councilors, the one, the only, Matt McBurnett has stepped up for second term on the Joint Powers Telecom Board. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
A motion by Councilor Robinson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Demus. Roll call, Matt McBurnett, please.
Counselor Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West.
Yes. Mayor, you have your appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council, and thank you, Mr. McBurnett, for stepping up and serving on your second term. This is going to take us to presentations and proclamations, and from a few complaints that I myself have had and a couple of you counselors have had in relation to community deer around the city. I had Kristen reach out to the Game and Fish, and we're honored to have Andy Rusa and Patrick Burke here tonight, who are going to give us a little bit of information and ideas on how we can move forward, what we should and shouldn't be doing, and maybe take some Q&A. So come on down, Patrick and Andy, and we'll turn the mic on, and you can give us some ideas on what we should be doing in regards to community deer. And also, we may have some questions. Now, if there are questions, being as we are live, we will have you come down to the podium, other than just yelling out and speaking to the microphone. Give your name if you could, and then let Andy or Patrick address the questions. So, Andy, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor Como. So basically, I'm here tonight to just kind of go over the process if the city of Rock Springs chose to move forward with removing deer from the city. That would entail the city applying for a Wyoming Game and Fish Chapter 56 lethal removal permit. In order to obtain that permit, the city would have to have a no feeding ordinance in place, which I believe is already in place. Once that was approved, the city would be authorized to remove a certain number of deer. The Game and Fish does not participate in that removal. That would fall on the city. Most towns choose to perform some kind of a deer count and prior to the removal, just to kind of get a rough estimate on how many deer they want to remove. That would be kind of tough in Rock Springs, just as kind of spread out as the city is, but we could at least make an attempt. So any deer removed from private property under that permit would require landowner permission prior to removal by the city. Deer must be taken through the most humane method available, which is normally just with a firearm. That usually falls on the city PD, but sometimes
Police chief chimed up
Yeah.
there and said,
yeah, I'm sure they're chomping at the bit for that job. All deer must be retrieved and field dressed under the permit. A CWD sample must be submitted to the state vet lab, and then once the results are back, and if they come back negative, the deer must be donated for consumption on a donation coupon provided by the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. If a deer were to come back positive or were sick for some other reason, was not fit for human consumption, the deer must be disposed of in a landfill. Game and Fish must be notified if that is the case. And then the final stipulation is that all antlers must be remitted to the Game and Fish for disposable, and no part of any deer shall fall into possession by anyone listed under the permit. So that's kind of just the basic outlines of a lethal removal permit if the city chose to go that route. Obviously, we're not quite there yet, but it just kind of gives you a rough idea how that works. There's obviously things people can do to try and dissuade deer from hanging out on their property. Some of them are more effective than others, obviously. Planting certain plants that deer don't like to eat. That sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. None of the stuff that they sell at Home Depot or Ace seems to actually do anything, in my experience. One of the things I've seen that is more effective is just turning the hose on deer, or I know they make some kind of like motion sensor sprinklers. My neighbor in Green River had one of those and seemed to be pretty effective at keeping deer out of the flower beds. I've heard of like different concoctions people spray on the flowers and stuff, but I don't think any of those work long term. So I know it's pretty tough and frustrating for people, but I wish I had better advice, but it seems to be a pretty uphill battle.
So Andy, that brings up a couple of questions in regards to Chapter 56. You're saying the city would then be responsible for the actual removal
Process of
the deer.
removing the deer, yes.
I'm thinking the PD may be a little bit reluctant to have city employees running around with a 300 Weatherby mag.
Yeah, I
pot
definitely wouldn't
shots at
recommend
deer.
a 300 Weatherly mag for in town. I've shot a lot of deer in town just that are injured or sick or whatever. Definitely a smaller calibers. Under this permit, you don't have to follow all the stipulations for the hunting regulations, so you don't have to have like a legal caliber and all that. There's exceptions for all those kind of things, but
Field dressed on site? Or
normally I think they would be hauled away and that would be done somewhere else where it's a little out of public view, just to save the public from that. Yeah, I guess you could get some kind of a list, or the food bank could get involved, something like that, just to people that would put the meat to use.
And all antlers to Game and Fish.
Yeah, to be disposed of. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure several of you have questions. I'm just going to turn this over and just refrain from Robert's rule and just go ahead and ask.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
Question. I just looking up here, there are options through like a PZP vaccine that could be administered through a dart to the hip, which controls fertility.
Yeah, I've heard of that being tried. I don't think it's real effective usually. I've never had any personal experience with it and haven't done a lot of research on it, so I can't really speak to the efficacy of it. But from what I have read, it's not super effective. It's hard to get enough deer, basically.
Looking at options other than putting
Lethal
them down,
remover,
and just trying to see if there's other options available.
Yeah, I understand.
How successful in other cities has this been?
I haven't really ever worked in a city where they've gone down this road fully. I worked in Green River, and they kind of got to this stage where they talked about it at the city council meeting and never really moved forward with it after that. So I'm not 100% sure on. I know Sheridan and a few other towns in Wyoming have gone down that road, but I'm not sure exactly how many deer they've removed and how effective it's been.
I thought at one time Green River tried a
No, they never actually got to the stage where they were actually removing deer.
Okay.
It just seems like the problem is bigger than that, and even if you remove some or, go through the process you just explained, more are just going to come in. We're faced with a drought, and obviously why wouldn't they come in if they got all the food in the world? It's a nuisance. Some people enjoy their presence. Some people feed them,
Right.
which is against, our city ordinance, but I just don't know how you can ever get ahead of it. It's kind of a no-win situation, and
Yeah, I think it would be, it's not going to be a one-time fix, that you remove X number of deer and you never have to do it again. Obviously, there's going to always be a few deer running around and they're going to reproduce and more are going to move in. So it's not going to be a one and done type of thing.
But based on what you said, I just want to be clear, you also have to have the landowner's permission. So if your neighbor has a deer that just left your yard and it's on your neighbor's yard, you flog an arrow at it, you probably first need to be running over there and see if your neighbor's okay with that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess under that scenario, that would be more of a scenario where the public was involved under like hunting seasons. Some towns have gone that route as well. I don't know how effective that would be in Rock Springs since we already have the hunting areas in place. Everything south of I-80 is going to basically fall into Area 102, which is a limited quota area.
Right.
Doubt too many people are going to want to use their 102 tag on a town deer.
I don't know. There's some nice.
There might be a few nice bucks to get taken, but yeah, so I don't know how effective that would be. And just having the public running around flinging arrows or shooting bullets probably might raise a few eyebrows.
How about anybody from the audience? Do you have a question, concern? Come on down.
Good evening, everybody. I live on 2009 Hillcrest Drive. I've been kind of on everybody's cases. The mayor's office, poor Brent, Andy, animal control.
Sherry, will you give us your name just so Kristen?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sherry Powley. Okay. Anyway. We've lived in our home 29 years. Over the years, the animals have slowly gotten more and more. They are now what I call, I'll probably get in trouble, welfare deer. Their parents taught them how to come into the community, birth in our yards, eat our vegetation, drink, and so forth. So then the next generation comes right back, and so it cycles. Every year it cycles. This year, it's horrendous. We live on a corner. We have 2 lots to fence our yard. We can't put fences in the front yard. It's not allowed. We don't have what you consider a huge fence in the backyard. I can't keep the deer out of the yard. They have rolled, kicked at, and kicked one little dog that we have, and our other one's 4.5 pounds. I can't go down in our backyard. Addie cannot go down the steps. I have to take her down the steps to her potty pen. For several years, I have to be very careful when I go down that I don't let her just kind of run around the yard just a little bit before she goes in her potty pen, because I've been confronted with does with fawns. If anybody's a hunter, they know you don't get between mom and the babies. I've had stare downs with the animals. Not sure which one of us was going to get hurt first. They are dangerous. They can be dangerous. The corner that we live on, people come flying up. I have witnessed. Oh, I don't even know. I had talked to Andy, and Brent had talked to me today at noon. Told me this was going to happen tonight. So I have pictures and evidence. I have destruction pictures. They've ruined our grass. They've eaten on my flowers. We have 7 apple trees. They've ruined our apple trees. Our snowball bushes are in 6-foot wire mesh so that they don't eat those down. I can't fix the grass because they pound through the grass. We have had up to 14 deer in our front yard. And I mean not from my porch is here and the deer are right there, and there's 14 deer right there. And they're bucks. They're 5 points, 4 points, whatever you want. They're all over. We have our fence, one of the fences was an iron fence. Doug went to take the dog out to go potty and scared one of the deer, and it bounced and ran right through the iron fence. That was $300. Doug fixed it. Well, guess what? They did it again. Guess what? He can't fix it. Who's going to pay for that? I did some research. I got onto the Game and Fish, and they said the Game and Fish own the animals. I said, okay. And then I researched it, and it said, technically, they have to pay for damage. So I may have to bring a lawsuit or something. But this is getting to the point of dangerous. My neighbor has a little grandson that plays in his backyard, and Jimmy's afraid that the deer, grandson's going to around the back, and the deer is going to be caught in the corner of his backyard and then come barreling through and knock him over. Well, that's what they did with our one little dog, Oreo. I didn't see the deer there, and Oreo didn't see it, and then all of a sudden we all saw it, and then the deer came through and just rolled him. Not acceptable. There's cars that screech in front of our house that have almost done head-ons, that have veered and run up on the sidewalk because they're trying to miss the deer. I love deer. I'm a hunter. I love animals, but not in my yard to destroy my property. It's private property. Nobody has a right, and whoever's in charge of it, something needs to be done. We have used human hair and human urine, dog feces, fake snakes, Irish Spring soap, garlic, deer repellent barrier, air horns. I've pounded, I have boundary pellets. I've done deer repellent spray. I've thrown rocks at them. I beat on tin buckets. The last thing I bought was coyote urine pellets and put them all the way around the yard. About $75 worth. Didn't even last 10 hours. It didn't stop them. They don't care. I've shot water at them. Like I said, we enclosed our snowball bushes. We have predator lights. We have ultrasonic lights. Nothing works. I've hollered at them, stomped my feet at them. I've honked my horn at them. Nothing works. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to come to a point where somebody's going to get hurt. Some child, somebody's getting a car wreck, going to get gored. It's rut season. And I've seen bucks fight in our backyard, in our yard, fighting. I call animal control, can't do anything about it. It's funny, I talked to Andy about 2 weeks before we had the bear running around our neighborhood, and I had said something. I said, well, I bet if there was a bear running around, you guys would probably come up and try to take that sucker out of here, wouldn't you? And then we had a bear in our neighborhood. So, I realize people like them. They like to feed them. They like to look at them. Our neighbors love to look at them. But the destruction, the cost. I put a lot of work into our yard to keep it upkept and pretty, and I've just had to give up on it. The flowers are gone. The grass is gone. The trees are gone. I mean, somebody has to do something. So, and I do not believe in shooting them in town. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care what anybody says. I want no shooting in town, period. You chase them out of town and shoot them, that's fine. Can't you tranquilize them, Andy? Can't they be tranquilized like they do? No. Well, the thing is you're going to have to get serious, get this group out of here. And sure, they're going to come back in, but we've lived here 29 years. And it's only been every year, about 10 years, maybe 7, 10 years ago, something like that, is when it started getting bad. And now it's bad. It's really bad. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I have a friend that her mom's dog got kicked in, and its insides were out. They had to put it down. Andy's probably got all kinds of people calling him, telling him about their animals. I can't run my animals without a leash in town or anything. So please, guys, do something. because somebody's gonna get hurt. And if one of my dogs gets hurt, then there really is gonna be hell to be paid, because I'm not gonna put up with that. So, thank you. Thank you, Andy, for
Thanks,
bringing this
Sherry.
up.
Address that question about tranquilizing deer real quick. So one of the stipulations for the Chapter 56 permit is that the meat must be donated. Once you tranquilize an animal, then that meat's no longer fit for human consumption. So that kind of negates that plan, just to address that issue.
Andy, are you familiar with Title 23, where someone can actually file a claim on property?
For damages?
Had Mr. Beckwith do some research, and just reading through the information, Title 23 Game and Fish Administration, damage caused by game animals or game birds, and it kind of goes through that situation. But the more I read into it, it doesn't necessarily fit into a residential subdivision within a municipality. It's more like a ranch.
Yeah, it's more commercial ranches and
Yeah.
farming operations that we normally deal with, large-scale damage to crops or livestock, things like that.
Any other citizens wish to speak? Well, I think what we need to do is just research Chapter 56 and see what we can do. Look into that and see what we can do. But I do believe, and I believe President West hit the nail on the head. We have several residents, including up in that Sherry's neighborhood, who do feed the deer. They water the deer, they feed the deer, and you can see the path that the deer take because they know there's easy pickings. They're going to get water, they're going to get food where they know that people are putting that out for them. President West mentioned that situation of drought. I believe it's gotten worse just because of that. Also, there is no water out there, and if they get down to the park, there's water. Neighbors are leaving large bins of water in the alleyways and food. That's where they're going. So some enforcement of the existing ordinance is also something that we need to be a little more aggressive with, and we did discuss that just today in staff meeting, and Chief Earthbomber's going to be looking into a couple of those situations, but it doesn't help by any means, and they do get, they're kind of creatures of habit. They follow paths where they know they're going to get rewards, and I'm sure that's why we had the bear down in that neighborhood, probably feeding off one of those easy food. I don't even think a bear can go after a deer unless it was hurt, wounded or something. He's going to have to work to get the deer when he could easily go over and get a mouthful of food. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll research this Chapter 56 and see how that can be implemented. Rick, if you would take a look at that. We'll get together on that. And Andy, we might have to reach out to you and with questions or support. And we'll. Counselors? Okay. We appreciate you two for coming down and giving us that information and some answers to some of the questions that we've had, because it is very frustrating. And like I said, and what I believe you've probably found in Green River, it's half and half. Half the people don't like the deer in their yard, and the other half love to see them, and they feed them and they do whatever. So it's a situation that we're going to have to address. Okay, this is going to bring us to our second item underneath presentations and proclamations, and we have Hunger Action Month proclamation here today. And Sherry and Connie, want to come up? Tell us a little bit about the Hunger Action Month proclamation and what's going on in our community and how we can help.
Hi, everybody. My name's Sherry Marino. I'm the treasurer of the food bank. I volunteer there every single Thursday. I get to work with a lot of people. And right now, our family members have come in, they're coming in more quantities.
I see that.
We're serving like 200, 250 families. And like
Yeah.
every Thursday, we get new ones from Green River and from Rock Springs. Donations they're great, but they've gotten shorter, a little bit less. We can use more donations. We have donation boxes at the libraries for non-perishable items. You can drop off perishable, non-perishable items at the food bank on the days we're there, like Thursdays. Probably early in the morning would be best, or later in the evening.
Do you have a butcher down there? You might see some deer show up.
We don't have a butcher. We have a nice high count of volunteers. We are really good on volunteers. We have a lot of people down there working,
Yeah.
given time. It's really nice to see.
This
lot
might
of
be a
people
good
giving
time
back.
for Deb to get up and talk about volunteers at the mall and what's going on there as well. Good time to give a plug to get people out, or do you have enough? She's like, no. Anyway, we sure appreciate what you folks do, and I'm always amazed. I drive through there about the time it looks like people are lining up, and I can't believe the numbers that I've been seeing lately.
Oh, it was
It's like it's
horrible with the-
quadrupled.
With the COVID, when we were
Yeah.
doing cars,
Yeah.
it was the worst. But I mean, you have to do what you have to do to help people, make sure they don't go without.
And then to add chaos, I believe Mr. Cowsich has reached out to you. We're going to shut down Grant Street for a little while.
I wasn't informed on I just saw Kathy. I
Well,
tonight.
it's coming, and he'll reach out to you. And but I think there's an option that we're going to make sure that traffic gets into the bank. Anything else?
Nope, that's pretty much what
Well,
she wanted me to cover.
We have a proclamation for you. And our proclamation reads, whereas addressing the food insecurity needs of children, youth, men, women, seniors, active military, and veterans today is fundamental for the future of Rock Springs. And hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern in Sweetwater County, where 11.3% of people struggle with hunger, and 1 in every 6 children do not know where their next meal will be coming from. And the need for comprehensive, coordinated emergency food programs place a critical responsibility upon our community. The Food Bank of Wyoming is committed to combating hunger in every part of the community and providing additional resources that those in Rock Springs need. And it is our responsibility as citizens of Rock Springs to learn about hunger and to do our part in reducing that hunger. And there are 160 partners with the Food Bank of Wyoming, a member of the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks. Their local partner, Food Bank of Sweetwater County, works to educate people about the important role of hunger relief organizations who raise awareness for the need to devote more resources and attention to hunger and food insecurities in our community. More than 4,940 residents of Sweetwater County rely annually on food provided by the Food Bank of Wyoming and their local partners. And Food Bank of Wyoming, its generous funders, volunteers, and local partner agencies are committed to educating citizens on the role of food banks and hunger relief efforts in solving hunger. And Food Bank of Wyoming provides over 9 million meals across Wyoming annually and engages each of us to help end hunger one meal at a time, either through donations, social media shares, or volunteer shifts. And the month of September is designated as Hunger Action Month in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Timothy A. Como, Mayor of the City of Rock Springs, do hereby proclaim September 2022 to be Hunger Action Month in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and I encourage all of our citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of food insecurity and how it impacts our nation, our state, our county, and our community. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, would you allow me to say a few words?
Sure, come on up. Yep, yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. My name is Miriam Walcott. I'm the programs manager with the Food Bank of Wyoming out of Evansville. We are part of the Feeding America Network. And I wanted to be present tonight to highlight the wonderful work that the Food Bank of Sweetwater is doing, both in Rock Springs and in Green River, as well as to highlight our two newest programs. One is a TOTS program that we have set up a few months back. It is at the Stagecoach School. We are providing food for about 150 kiddos every single week. And it's entirely on the Food Bank of Wyoming. That allows the families to tie to be tied over the weekend. The kiddos are leaving on Friday night with a totes full of food to tie them up until the next Monday, so that if they don't have access to food at home, at least during the week, they are taken care of with the programs that the school district provides. And then those 2 days, we are providing food for the families. It's called a TOTS program, but really it's a family support over those 2 days over the weekend. Very, very proud of this program. We have about 16 like this across the state, and the one in Rock Springs here is one of our newest. The second one is part of the mobile pantry program that we have. We have 19 sites right now, and it really says what it does. It's a mobile program. It's a truck coming on site to a location and literally injecting 20, 30, 35,000 pounds within a few hours onto a community. Thanks to volunteers like Debbie and her incredible network of support and volunteers, we are able to do that. We couldn't do it. As staff members of the Food Bank of Wyoming, we could not do that without a strong volunteer base. So Debbie, thank you so much. It started as a COVID relief. It was a couple distributions during 2020. Then we turned it into a distribution every other month. And unfortunately, it was successful. Because when we feed 500 families every other month, we feel like we can definitely do that every month as well. So the success, the measure of success in the food banking world is completely turned around. The more we serve, the least successful we are, we feel, because the success of a food bank is to make sure that, yes, we are providing the need, but if the need increases, then how do we measure that success? Are we really successful in what we're doing? Food insecurity is so much more than just lacking food. It's a whole network of support, job support, the whole social networking around food insecurity is what really is what we're looking at the root of food insecurity. So, Debbie, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, ladies. I know Kathy is in Green River tonight because the proclamation is also in Green River today at the same time, different locations. So I cannot be at two locations at once. And I wanted to be here because I knew that Kathy was in Green River. We want to thank, the Food Bank of Wyoming really want to thank every single community in the state. Like I said, we cannot do what we do without a strong community support, without the support of community members, leaders, businesses. We need all of those support in order for us to do the job that is incredibly important. And I want to thank you personally for your engagement and the support that you give to the Food Bank of Wyoming. So thank you.
I think we owe all you ladies a round of applause. You guys do a fantastic job. And by all means, if you ever get a chance to get out to the mall and help Debbie when the call comes, it's just amazing because there's a lot of food that is injected into the community and the food bank, and we need to make sure that that continues. We're going into those holiday seasons eventually where, a lot of these families depend on our help. I know the Boys and Girls Club does a fantastic job. We have several entities, the churches. We even have people in our community that have set up pantries in their driveway. And, we really need to understand that there are people in our own community that go without, and do everything we can to make sure that we get them back on their feet and that they have the food they need to survive. We have a proclamation that I'd love to give to you. But you'll have to come up and take pictures.
The 4-day school stress. We have like 3 big bucks. Before you guys leave, can I ask one question? I've got one too. The 4-day school week, has that negatively affected, or how has that affected the amount of food that's been dispersed?
I don't believe it has. The way that the PTO, Heather and the PTO is ordering the food, the order is done once a month, and she orders for 4 weeks. So whatever comes her way, she divides by 4, and if it has to be distributed on weekday, she does that. It's entirely up to her to distribute the food just to her best ability, knowing what the community needs, and then going forward. Once the food is ordered, it is entirely on the site coordinator to allocate that food according to need. So I don't believe it has.
Thank you.
Councilman Savage.
Thank you. Yeah, I would think with the 4-day week, because then the kids wouldn't have lunch and breakfast at school. I think it would have an impact. But how does your program interact with the backpack program?
Okay, so I'm sorry. Could I get you to come up? Because we have people at home that we hear this void because there's no response. But if you speak into the mic, they're going to hear it.
Absolutely. So the difference between a backpack program and a TOES program for the Food Bank of Wyoming is that a backpack program is self-funded and a TOES program is on us. The TOES program is allocating $5.15 per tote per week to the amount of the number of kiddos that the site coordinator is telling us they are feeding. So the highest program right now is in Torrington, here in Goshen County. No, Torrington is not in Goshen. Is it in Goshen? In Goshen. They are feeding about 350 kids per week. So we allocate 6 months out. So that would be 315 times 515 times 26. And that is the amount that we give the site coordinator to feed the kids for the next 6 months. A backpack program is self-funded, meaning that we've not been approached by this program to allocate the funding. They are getting donations, they are getting private donations, business donations, but it is not supported by the Food Bank of Wyoming. The food is, they order through us, but the funding is coming from somewhere else. That is the difference internally between backpack and totes.
Okay.
Any other questions, councilors? Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to move on to the public hearings section of our agenda. We have one public hearing regarding the proposed sale of municipal property to the YWCA of Sweetwater County, of which we'll take action under Resolution 2022-121. Is there anyone here tonight wishing to speak on this public hearing? Anyone? Hearing none, I'm going to go into the petition section of our agenda, and I would ask if there's anyone here tonight wishing to speak on any issue whatsoever. This is your time to do so. Come on down, state your name, and let us know what your comments are.
All right, I'll keep it short. My name's Pam Haynes, and I've lived here for over 40 years. And I just wanted to thank you in person to passing the TNR ordinance. And since I've been coming to meetings, I'm impressed with what you all do for the community. And I think more people should be aware of it. But in my book, you guys do great work, and hope I can help get more cats fixed so we have less. And if I get an idea on the deer, I'll let you know too.
I think you'll need
Pam.
a bigger trap.
Thanks, Pam. We don't hear that a lot, but I think that was the right decision, and hopefully we can continue to improve. Anyone else? Come on down.
Us shorter folks have to lower that mic. Mr. Mayor, thanks. Councilmen and woman, thank you for the opportunity to chat. My name's Chris Sutton, and I am running for Sheriff of Sweetwater County. I know most of you probably don't want to see the signs anymore. We're all getting kind of tired of the political signs. And to popular belief, there is still one more person in the race, and that is myself. Against current Sheriff John Grossnickel. I wanted to take just a moment and just introduce myself and let you folks know what we are about. And we've been really, really busy in this campaign. And on November 8th, it'll be myself and John as your two candidates for sheriff. I bring quite a bit of a different philosophy to the sheriff's office. And one of those real big items to me is just our priorities. And to me, I'm just really passionate about people. And I think we have a great opportunity to change the culture of how we do things, rebuilding relationships that have been maybe not as important as they used to be. Maybe I'm a little old school guy, and I like the fact that you may know your sheriff by first name. You may know your deputies by first name. You may be able to call them if you need them. But when they drive by, they spend time when they see you on your porch, and they'll come out and they'll chat with you. And they'll see you, obviously outside of a regular volume of calls that they do. Schools, I don't want to see another child get shot and killed in a school because we didn't have an opportunity to stop by more often and say hi. Teachers, administrators, students, seeing those in the brown uniform. We don't do that. We don't want folks to run away from us. We want them to run towards us. And I tell parents that all the time when they would tell me in the past, they'd say, we want you to scare our kids. And I say, no, I want your kids to run towards me, not away from me. So my priorities are really different. I'm just really community-based. We have a lot of work to do. I've been sitting down with a lot of folks within our county. The juvenile system is very important to me as well. And we have kids that get into trouble. What do we do with them when they go from being in trouble? Where's the only place they go? It'll either be the jail, or they're going to go to the boys' home or the girls' home. We have to have opportunity to do something for them. And then lastly is mental health. And this is really big with me as well. We walk up to folks every day in our uniforms. And I know the chief can vouch for this. I know Counselor Robinson can vouch for this. Everything that we do is in our approach. It's your mouth. Everything that you say, it's your body language. And we don't know if someone's struggling with something. And mental health is huge. Not only do we have it in our community, but we have it internally in law enforcement. And if a deputy or a police officer, if they're not ready to come back, we don't want them to come back yet. We do not want them back on the streets yet. So we have to take this very, very seriously and not just send them to a counselor and then they spend 30 minutes or so and then they get a clean bill of health. We need to have more programs for internal deputies and officers. And then when we approach those folks in the streets, I think if we have more knowledge on what we're seeing, it might be something they say, it might be a body language, it might be a movement. If we can identify those things more often, we can win when someone is struggling with something versus taking that as an action towards us aggressively, and then we take them to jail. Now, I'm not saying that there's folks that aren't going to go there.
because about 10% of our population we see on a regular basis. But in my priorities, 90% of our time right now is currently with the 10% that break the law. That's not healthy. We need to spend 90% of our time with the 90% of the good men and women in Sweetwater County. And that's the relationship building. And then we can get into the mental health, and we can understand where people are struggling. And we can do all these things on a regular basis. We can spend more time in our schools. These are just a few of the things that are on my platform. And I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be here and chat with everyone. And just know that you have another candidate besides the sheriff. And I think it's a great opportunity. I'm a big constitutional guy. I love our freedoms. To get to know the other person. There's not just one that's going to be on the ballot. Know both. So you're educated, you understand, you know what they're about. And I don't tell anybody ever to vote for me. I haven't said it once since I've started. I'm letting them make an educated decision themselves based on what they hear, what they see. And then after November 8th, we'll move on from there. But we feel really good about where we are, and we're very motivated. And if anyone has any questions for me, I would love to take a moment to answer those. And then Mr. Mayor, I'll let you move on.
Councilors? Well, Chris, I'm glad you came down, and frankly, nice to meet you, and I appreciate that. I just have one question. What's your thoughts on the jail and programs within the jail? Are we doing enough? Should we be doing something different? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I love that question, Mr. Mayor, because when I'm sheriff, I have to say when I'm sheriff, there will be a lot more programs that will be community-based. I already have a chaplain set aside that I want to visit for those that are faith believers and faith bound and that are struggling as well inside the jail. I think having someone sit in a cot for 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day and not necessarily have an opportunity to do something for themselves is disappointing in my mind. Why not have them be part of some sort of program that makes them, hopefully, right, in all of our eyes, a more productive citizen within Sweetwater County? Just because you go to our jail doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. But if you're there for a certain amount of time, why are we not putting together some sort of programs that bring value into your life? That when you leave that place, the goal is you don't ever come back. So why can't you have something in place that would actually help benefit that?
Well, I think you're exactly right. And I think a great program to consider is animal control.
Listen.
So, no, hear me out. I'm just thinking, I've seen in other communities where, inmates may go out and they do community service, but one of them is that helping out with animal control, and maybe it's out on a ranch or a farm or whatever. But there's always a huge need. We discussed this today, and I think programs like that it creates some ownership, and it does the community well. Just items like that, I think, are essential.
It does. I mean, I can't overemphasize the fact that we politicize so much of law enforcement that, to me personally, it's a shame. I'm just not a political guy. I'm not a politician. And when I'm sheriff, you're going to see a very huge difference. And it will be very actively involved in our community on a regular basis. And these are things I've already implemented with quite a few ladies in the county that head up different programs. And they're super excited to see that we are ready and willing to take this on already because they're hungry for these sorts of things. These discussions, Mr. Mayor, they're hungry for that. Mm-hmm. So why are we not feeding them in that analogy? Why are we not doing whatever we can to help those folks? The sheriff's office was founded on those sorts of beliefs. That guideline, we're here to protect you and protect your rights. And then outside of that, it's a bunch of relationship building and programs for us all to work together and be successful. If we don't do those things, I think we're failing. And that's what you will get with me.
Good point. Counselors? We appreciate you coming down today, and appreciate the information. And by all means, if you get to that point, I'm sure the chief will appreciate a conversation with you about some ideas that we've been hashing out for a while. But thanks, Chris.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Still under petitions. Anyone else wishing to come down and address the city council on any issue? This is your time. Hearing none, close the petitions. We're going to move on to the officers and staff reports. Councilors, we have item number 1, 2022 City of Rock Springs Weed Control Summary, and item number 2, the financial report summary for July of 2022. I'd entertain a motion to approve the officers and staff reports and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's going to bring us to the council committee and board reports. Councilors, item number 1 is the Joint Powers Telecom Board meeting minutes of July 14th, 2022. Item number 2 is the Joint Powers Combined Communication Board meeting minutes of July 18th, 2022. And I would ask, are there any other committee or board reports that,
Your Honor,
President West?
I've got a couple comments. Speaking of campaign signs, we obviously just got through the primary, and it's just a little disheartening to me to see people take their signs down and leave the green fence posts up. That is against city ordinance. I went back just to clarify that, but that is considered part of your sign. And obviously, I've done plenty of campaigning, and they make a tool, very easy to get them out with. I've never understood the laziness or perhaps the sourness of people leaving that behind for the city to deal with. It's bad enough. I think people get tired of campaign signs as it is, kind of, I guess, tainting the city, if you want to call it that. But then just to leave them everywhere, you can pretty much pinpoint who they are. I don't know what we can do as a city to enforce that without specifically writing down the areas that they're left behind. But I think that's very, lazy. I'll leave it at that. I've got other words, but
Disrespectful.
perhaps that among other things. But yes, it just disgusts me that we can't be more responsible, and you've got groups of people that are trying to, clean up certain parts of the community and make it look nice, and you got to deal with that. So I just wanted to make note of that, and then I'll give you something else if no one has any questions or comments on that.
Mr. President, I would concur with that. There's still fence posts from 4 years ago where I had signs, but the vast majority, if not all of these, are private property that from people that allowed you to put a sign there, and then you go by certain areas and there's 8, 12, 14 fence posts still there. The tool is very easy to get. I'd be happy to borrow it to anybody. I have 2 of them. Fence posts are easy to go in, some not so easy, but they're hell to get out. And you got to have the right tool, but they need to come out, and it's your responsibility. Mr. President, go ahead.
And then I just wanted to remind the council and maybe even the department heads that tomorrow night SEDC is hosting the Wyoming Business Council board and staff at Bunning Hall, from 5:30 to 7:30. I think you all received an invite to it, but if you haven't, I can send it back to you. It's a good opportunity to meet with them and show them some projects and perhaps cry for funding. But just wanted to remind you of that, and we'll be there tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, councilors, I would entertain a motion to approve the officers or council committee and board reports and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's going to bring us on to the correspondence. We have 4 items under correspondence that you've had a time to take a look at. If you have questions, we can discuss those now, or I would entertain a motion to approve the correspondence and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to bills and claims, councilors. Item number 1 is the bills and claims for September 6, 2022. What's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demas?
I make a motion to approve the bills and claims for September 6, 2022.
We do have a motion to approve the bills for September 6, 2022. Do we have a second? Second. We do have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstained.
Let the record show. Item number 2 is the salaries for August 22nd, 2022. Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve the salaries for August 22nd, 2022.
We do have a motion to approve the salaries for August 22nd, 2022. Do we have a second? Second. Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to new business. Item number 1 is a request from the Engineering Operations and Public Services Department for emergency replacement of a deteriorated manhole at the intersection of Center and Grant Street in the amount of $100,500. Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve this request.
We do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second has been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Let the record show. And item number 2 is a request from the KD Foundation for approval of the 15th Annual Color Wash Rush Walkathon route, including police assistance and ATV escorts to patrol walkers on September 17, 2022 at 11 a.m. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Hickerson.
move to approve this request.
We do have a motion to approve this request. Do we have a second? Second. Second's called. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item number 3 is a request from the Rock Springs High School for approval of the homecoming parade route on September 14th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Savage? Batolo?
Patolo, move to approve this request.
We do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's called. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? And item number 4 is a request from Sweetwater Now for permission to serve alcohol in Bunning Park during their Fall into Fall Festival on September 24th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Mr. President,
move to approve this request.
we do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to resolutions, councilors. We have 12 items under resolutions. Item number 1 would be Resolution 2022-121.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract for sale of real property between the YWCA of Sweetwater County and the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Mr. President,
move to approve Resolution 2022-121.
we do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-121. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hickerson. Roll call.
Councilor Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. And item number 2, Resolution 2022-122.
A resolution accepting and approving a grant award between the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security and the City of Rock Springs, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs to execute said grant award on behalf of said city.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-122.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-122. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Councilor Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 3, Resolution 2022-123.
A resolution accepting and approving a highway safety program federal fiscal year 2023 subaward agreement between the Wyoming Department of Transportation Highway Safety Program and the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and authorizing Timothy Acomo of the mayor as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said agreement on behalf of the city.
Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Batolo?
move to approve Resolution 2022-123.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-123. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 4, Resolution 2022-124.
A resolution accepting and approving a highway safety program federal fiscal year 2023 subaward agreement between the Wyoming Department of Transportation Highway Safety Program and the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said agreement on behalf of the city.
Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-124.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-124. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yep.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 5, Resolution 2022-125.
A resolution accepting and approving a promissory note from the City of Rock Springs to the State of Wyoming in the amount of $2,117,647 for its share of the obligation to the Fire Plan A Reserve account, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor of the City of Rock Springs to execute said promissory note on behalf of the city.
Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Mr. President.
difficultly move to approve Resolution 2022-125.
Counselors, we do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-125. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second has been called. Roll call.
Counselor Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yeah.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Is meh a vote? Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Not that it matters at this point, but yes, we'll see where this goes. Item number 6, Resolution 2022-126.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract with Turf Equipment and Irrigation, 1630 South Gladiola Street, Salt Lake City, Utah, in the amount of $49,720, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Hickerson.
I move to approve Resolution 2022-126.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-126. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called by Councilman Batolo. Roll call.
Counselor Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 7, Resolution 2022-127.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract between the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and DiBernardi Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $395,550, and authorizing Timothy Acomo as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Counselors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-127.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-127. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Robinson. Roll call.
Counselor West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Vitolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Abstain.
Hickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 8, Resolution 2022-128.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract with R&D Sweeping and Asphalt Maintenance, LC, in the amount of $57,544.90, and authorizing Timothy A. Como as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to accept said contract on behalf of the city of Rock Springs.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Patolo?
move to approve Resolution 2022-128.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-128. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Abstain.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 9 is Resolution 2022-129.
A resolution accepting and approving an addendum to the exclusive right to lease listing contract with Keller Williams Realty to extend the listing contract to December 31st, 2022, and continue thereafter month to month, and authorizing Timothy A. Como as mayor of the city of Rock Springs to execute said addendum on behalf of the city.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-129.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-129. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 10, Resolution 2022-130.
A resolution accepting and approving a grant award agreement between the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the City of Rock Springs, and authorizing Timothy A. Como as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs to execute said grant award on behalf of said city.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Mr. President?
move to approve Resolution 2022-130.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-130. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Item number 11, Resolution 2022-131.
A resolution accepting and adopting a job description for the position of gym facility supervisor for the Rock Springs Recreation Department of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming at pay grade 24.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Savage?
I move to approve Resolution 2022-131.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-131. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called by Councilman Hickerson. Roll call.
Counselor Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. And item number 12, Resolution 2022-132.
A resolution accepting and approving a grant agreement offer between the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, and the City of Rock Springs, and authorizing Timothy A. Como as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said grant agreement on behalf of said city.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-132.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-132. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Savage,
Yeah.
Batolo,
Yes.
Halter,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. Okay, this will bring us to the ordinance section. We have one ordinance, 2022-11, on second reading.
An ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Rock Springs from R3 medium density residential to the zoning designation of R5 high density residential, a piece parcel or tract of land located in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 36, Resurvey Township 19 North Range 105 west of the 6th Principal Meridian, Rock Springs, Sweetwater County, State of Wyoming.
Councilors, with no further business to come before the city council, this meeting is adjourned.